Good evening, and after a week off, welcome back to Going for Two. This is the only YouTube podcast in human recorded history to feature a male and female host drinking our way through the important topics of the day, as long as it has touched the football world and not in that way. Before we get started, let's say hi to Mike, who is back. Mike Margossian, who I think is on his second or third visit on this show.
Yeah, I think it's second.
Because we did that crazy 3-hour draft, or auction, last year.
That was fun.
And you missed out. But Mike is an MFL 10 guru, writes for 444 about MFL 10s, which are beyond blowing up, I think. And if you think MFL 10s are for wussies, he can get you deeper. So good evening, and let's do a little beer introduction. So Mike, what do you got tonight? Sounds like you brought a special beer out for tonight.
Yeah, I just got it. It's from Clown Shoes Brewery. It's,
Clown Shoes. That's a clown question, bro.
Oh yeah, it's a Blackhorn Unidragon. It's a 13% Russian Imperial Stout.
Ooh, boy, that sounds good.
So I'll be on my ass at the end of this.
So that's a fairly local, right?
Yeah, they're a mess.
Because I know I was in Boston once, and I think I had one of theirs, and they're all over the place. Like, you can find them at least where I am in Atlanta. But Sharona, what do you got tonight?
I'm sticking with the stouts. I have a Lagunitas Imperial Stout. It's quite tasty. Now, I have to ask you guys, is this what is considered a bomber?
Looks like it.
It's a big one. Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
It's a big one, she says.
I like big bottles, and I cannot lie.
So I'm drinking because Smutty Nose really should be the sponsor of the show. They have a Rocky Road, which I thought was appropriate for Sharona's alma mater, and pretty good beer. That's the first beer I ever had that's a stout brewed with cocoa nibs and marshmallow cream.
Ooh, yummy.
And you know when they throw sweet stuff into beer, it's hit or miss, but this is good. I have my Game of Thrones mug and super dark. So let's begin with a not pour one out because with good beer. We'd like to talk about Libby, if you would, Sharona.
Yeah, it's weird because yesterday I was writing and I was taking opportunity because I was behind to catch up on some of our old shows, and in one of them you could hear Libby, and Zach's familiar, having been around her for, 2 years now? So anyway, my sweet little puppy dog Libby, who's had some health issues, was not getting any better. In fact, was getting worse. And so a week ago Monday, I put her down.
Oh,
so yeah, thank you. It was a hard decision, and I miss her, and I still love her, and I miss her, but it was the right thing to do, and so that makes it a little bit easier.
Yeah, I had to go through that with Chewy last summer. And, he was like 12, so we thought we had a few more years with him, and then just, the suddenness and the fact that it had him from beginning to end, much like our new kittens that are cute, but, Chewy's like the Hall of Famer,
Oh, yeah. Libby, I love you. I miss you. And of course, the kittens, the cats had gotten used to her. But they do not miss her at all. They're like, oh, good, open access to mom. We don't have to worry about that, weird dog person trying to block access and everything. And so they are usually, they're not in here tonight, but they're usually just, right. Well, of course, then I followed that up this past weekend. I went to stay at my sister's, and they were like, whoa, where'd the food lady go? The food lady's not here. What is going on? And so when I got back later on Monday, Smokey, the one who I've rescued more than once, Smokey was like, oh, no, you're not getting out of my side. So he's been, everywhere I've been, he's been, following me. So anyway. So I wrote about it. If you care to read about the experience, you can check it out on my website.
Do it, people. So, Mike, are you a pet person?
Absolutely. I got a dog and 2 cats. So they're all about 10 years old right now.
So they're wily veterans.
Yeah. Black lab and then brother and sister cats.
Well, it's appropriate that you put the word 10 in there because you are one of the go-to guys for our MFL 10 discussions. Real quick, I think we're fairly familiar, but just give the elevator speech. What is an MFL 10?
It's yeah, absolutely. It's a draft only, so you draft 20 players, and the system automatically puts your players in each week, and best score wins. Simple as that. Just draft and you're done.
Draft and forget. Now, with proliferation of daily fantasy and the high annoyance level you can get from leagues in which you have to do waivers and set lineups, and you set your lineup on the way to your friend's house and the guy gets a 0, that kind of thing. Well, with best ball, you don't have to worry about that. And in best ball, Joseph Randall was actually good for a week last year, so there you go. And many other players. But Mike, do you miss the days like 2 years ago with kickers in the MFL 10s?
Oh God, I was definitely one of the people pushing to get rid of them. Just especially doing drafts this early, kickers get cut and it's crazy. And nothing worse than having just complete zeros there for the kickers. I think it was 2 years ago when Matt Prater heavy, and it was the year he got cut and went to Detroit and then missed like 8 field goals. That was not pretty.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure we had a playoff game in our fantasy league determined because Prater missed like a 30-yard field goal. And whoever was kicker for the Falcons like 3 years ago missed a 30-yard field goal, and that determined like our champion. And that's just the way it goes. But maybe we shouldn't talk about kickers because I know you have some recent kicker-related trauma that we probably shouldn't talk about in real life. But so did you get involved in do you just dive in because MFL 10 start? I don't know if they started the day after the Super Bowl, but they started the week after the Super Bowl. And what's crazy about this, and I will ask the question eventually, is that you don't know about free agency and you don't know about bye weeks, so you don't know about where these rookies are going. So did you just jump in at the beginning?
Yeah, so it's definitely, you kind of have to know. I'm not a big rookie guy in terms of the research and stuff. I usually kind of start doing my heavy research close to the draft. So this early, I generally don't draft many rookies just because I don't know them very well. And like you said, they're very risky. They could end up on a team that just gets buried for a year, and you're screwed. And then in terms of free agents, you can take calculated risks on guys. I mean, they're usually not big guys that are moving. It's like the Rashard Matthews and some other guys like that are just kind of moving around that are late picks anyway. So it's not too big of a deal. But definitely the bye weeks that can get screwy. You just kind of have to roll the dice. I mean, take 2 quarterbacks and you just hope they don't have the same bye week.
But you're a Patriots guy, right, Mike?
Absolutely.
Now, didn't they just today cut Brendan LaFell? Did I see that?
Yep, LaFell, Scott Chandler, and supposedly they're going to cut Aaron Dobson tomorrow.
Oh, wow, okay. Aaron Dobson, boy, he was a huge bust.
Oh, yeah. A whole lot of nothing.
Yeah, last year, I think, in the 18th round of an NFL 10, you're probably thinking, Aaron Dobson or Alan Hearns, and that was a really big decision for you to make. It just didn't work out. It just didn't happen, but, I think, I posted the groan-worthy tweet today, talk about a player who fell from grace. And, I don't usually go to the puns, but it had to happen. So have you done more NFL 10s than Degenerate yet?
No, I think she's ahead of me. I just been kind of pacing myself to start with, since I'm not big on the rookies right now. I'm just trying to focus and do just a couple now and go nuts later. So I think I have 8 going on.
I support that plan. Definitely. As someone who bought heavily into Kelvin Benjamin and who else went down?
Jordy Nelson.
Jordan. I mean, injuries decimated my teams last year. Of course, I also bought heavily into the Colts offense, and woof.
Yeah, that's a tough one.
That was awful.
Yeah, at first I thought who's going to draft a quarterback really early, but Cam Newton had such a great year. I think he went in the fourth, but I mean, even, and I purposely, like last year, I did like 7 MFL 10s, and I always publicized it, so I got pretty heavy players in all of them, so it was pretty challenging. And this time, like, I'm playing a public league. I'm not telling anybody until it's full. And I still got 2 or 3 people who were, a couple of people I think were even in our the auction we did last year. And I think it just was for a feel, because I actually liked the MFL 25 more, because I did 1 MFL 25 and I came in second and I won $50. If you come in second in MFL 10, you get a free league the next year. I don't think the top prize is as high in the 25, but I don't know. Do you do the higher levels, or you just 10 all the way?
I've just been doing 10s, but like you said, the pay structure is a little different. So the 25s, you know, instead of the 10 times you're buying, you get $200. So what's that, like 8 times? So it's a little less, but like you said, you get second and double your money, and third, you get your money back. So I think this year, depending on how things go, I might try to do a decent chunk of 25s as well, just because of that.
And I was wondering if, because NFL 10s, that's the name everybody knows, like the brand name, it's like Pepsi. You know, people don't play the other ones as much. So I was wondering if the people in the higher level were like the people who just go to Vegas to blow a lot of money, or if there are more shark-like behavior in the high-level leagues. But I don't know if anybody's done that.
I guess MFL 10s are kind of like the nickel slots, right?
Well, it's,
you just kind of play for the fun of it. Listen, when I go to Vegas, I gamble just for the free drinking. So this is what you're dealing with, right? I do the nickel slots. That's all I do.
Yeah. Yeah, and you go in for when you do the 25s and up, you're hoping for those people that have a bunch of money and don't care about blowing it. So let's throw the $25 in there. So you're just hoping for those people.
Because people are talking about all these horrible picks people made, and I'm like, all these leagues I did, everybody was pretty much, spot on. I don't know, does 444 do kind of an ADP? Because I've seen the one, like RotoViz has an MFL 10 actual ADP in their site.
So one of the things, because I did that MFL tool last year that did a lot of ADP stuff that I sold out. So this year I actually teamed up with 444 and working on it with Josh.
Great guys.
Yeah, awesome guys. So Josh and I are actually working on developing the tool to have ADP stuff in there,
awesome.
tracking things. So we're going to be building it out this year, really, top-notch stuff.
Very cool.
Yeah, so if you ever use their site for like their DFS stuff or like the other things, they're just great tools, nice and simple and straightforward.
Awesome.
Yeah, so it'll be fun. Hopefully we get that out as soon as possible. It's definitely a work in progress.
Do you wish that MFL 10s had like a timeout thing at night?
Yeah, that's definitely my biggest thing. I hate the overnight. There's nothing worse than getting a draft with a bunch of West Coasters, and you think you're fine. All of a sudden, you go to sleep, and they both, all those people just burn through all the rounds, and you're screwed.
Yeah, I mean, I had the 9th pick in the MFL 10. I did, and sure, I'll talk about my own MFL 10. Why not? Because I took Jen's favorite. I took Dez my first pick, but. So on the day that I did MFL 10, I forget these things fill up so quickly, so I was planning to go to 3 breweries that day. So I made my pick 204 at 6:30 at night after I'd been at 3 breweries and I was actually drinking a beer at dinner. And somehow by 10:30, my 309 pick had come up, and of course by the time I woke up, I had timed out. And I got a guy at 309, and I was like, I can't believe this guy's ADP is so high. Devontae Parker was the 3rd round guy.
Wow.
And even looking at the ADP, he was still fairly high, like in the 40s.
Wow.
Dang, people must have high hopes. Do you have high hopes, except the 2 games against the Patriots?
Yeah, I mean, exactly. Hey, you can put up stats as long as they don't win. But, yeah, I mean, one thing you got to be careful with the ADP, it pulls the entire ADP, so you're getting dynasty drafts in there too. That's what pulled it up for you. Because I just pulled it up as his actual ADP is towards the end of the 4th round. So which is still definitely pretty high. So he's
I mean, I don't think I would even start looking at him until 7 or 8.
Yeah, like
Yeah,
T.Y. Hilton went the pick after.
But-
I'm like, I would have taken him if I
Yeah.
thought of it, but I didn't think my pick was going to come out. And after that, I always checked before I went to sleep, and I pre-drafted. What do you think of? So at 404, I took my first running back, Dion Lewis. You feeling good about him and his ACL?
Yeah, I have hopes. They said he's on track for week 1, so it might be a week or two for him to get back in the swing of things. But if he can stay healthy, he'll be a beast. He'll be our RB1, that's for sure.
So is he's still a Patriot?
Yeah, they signed him for a 2-year deal last year.
Oh, that's right. 2 year deal. I remember that now. Well, you know how Bill Belichick is with his running backs. I just had to check.
Yeah, that's why you take him in a best ball league and not.
By the way, I just have to
Yes.
tell you guys that I would not have ever survived any of my MFLs or my auction drafts without Mike, who was so kind and so gracious and so helpful to me. And I sucked anyway, but at least I kind of sort of got the general gist of things by about my 9th draft.
Hey, don't feel bad. All the auctions I did, the MFL auctions, I came in like in the bottom third. I did horrible. I love auctions, but I'm not good at them.
I love them too. I'm not doing nearly as many as I did last year. I did like 16, had like 16 total, which only 7 of them were you had to actually set your lineup, but still, it was just too much. I'm not doing as much this year. I can't.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I like the concept of an auction or like a dynasty startup more than just a regular redraft, but that's what most people do, so you gotta go that way. Yeah, so yeah, I feel like I did get my team was like sophomore guys or guys coming off injury. I got Des Bryant number 1, Keenan Allen in the 2nd, Devontae Parker upside in the 3rd. And this is going against. I was going the Jen route because last year Jen, who did like 700 drafts, and that's everything that was on her timeline, was her making picks, so you'd know what kind of players she likes. She really likes Chris Thompson this year. We'll see about that. But it was really big. Like every league I did, by the 3rd round, everybody had 2 running backs.
You're doing like all wide receivers. Is that you're gonna? I mean, your entire roster is gonna be wide receivers, right?
Well, I had planned to go wide receiver, but I'm seeing this turn. Like last year, people seemed to go running back early because you make these picks and forget. You want a guy you think is more solid. You think, oh, they're receivers I can grab later. Plus, with receivers, you just need 2 or 3 good weeks, and you're set with some of these guys. But boy, did the early running backs suck last year for the most part and get injured. So getting the sure thing receiver might be the way to go. But I don't know if I would have taken the receiver in the 3rd round, but I timed out, so that's the way I went.
If you drafted Adrian Peterson, like he was going the number 1 selection overall last year, if you took him in your first 4 picks, were you disappointed or not? Just curious what you guys think.
I think it went pretty well for him. He had a few stinkers, but I think every running back says a few stinkers.
Yeah, Peterson did pretty well last year. I mean, if you took Charles and Bell, which I did a lot, that's what hurt. Peterson was pretty solid.
I had Le'Veon Bell and Jamal Charles and Arian Foster in the same league.
Ouch.
That was bad.
And Kelvin Benjamin, I exceeded the number of IR slots. I mean, like, by the time Steve Smith went on IR, I was already full up. Victor Cruz, I had him. He went on IR. I mean, it was like they were dropping. It was like, oh, sorry, guys. Didn't mean to draft you.
Well, the number 1 pick in this league was Todd Gurley.
Oh, yeah. Okay. All right.
But running backs are really seem to be slipping. I mean, I ended up taking
this year it seems to be. Last year it was, towards the end of the drafting season, it was 8 running backs in the first round, which was crazy. Now it's like 3 or maybe 4, and it's kind of getting a little more spaced out. So
What is David Johnson's ADP this year? Just curious.
Towards a late first.
Okay.
I actually just took him at 109 about an hour ago.
Okay. All right, cool. Awesome.
Yeah, if you want hour by hour ADP, talk to this guy.
Oh, he's the man.
He's not looking at the ADP, he's setting the ADP.
He's the man.
I'm always worried in the first few drafts, actually, to not take a sleeper I have early, because I don't want to throw anything off at all.
Yeah.
So I'll let him slip far, even if I don't get him, just because I don't want anyone kind of getting the tip of my hand.
When I do these mock drafts, I never draft the way I would ordinarily draft. I'm like trying weird stuff, right? Because I don't want people to, you don't want to give your tails away. Full disclosure, I suck anyway, so it doesn't really matter. No, I actually, last year was my worst fantasy year in a long, long, long time. I came in second in like 3 leagues, so won some small money, nothing big, but it's the first year that I hadn't come in first place in at least one of my leagues in a long time.
Wow. Last year was a crazy year, that's for sure.
Yeah. So, and I was really, really, really close in one of my leagues. I tied because Eric Decker. I tied one game because Eric Decker got hurt. It ended up going. He was having a great game too. I forget which game that was. So anyway, I came so close in a couple of them. So, anyway.
Yeah.
So what do you think of these mid-round running backs? These are the 3 guys I got. In the 4th, 5th, and 6th, I got Deion Lewis, which I already liked. Jonathan Stewart getting up there, and then Duke Johnson.
Yeah, I mean, Stewart, if he can stay healthy, definitely a solid pick. I mean, he has running back 1 potential there in that team. And then Duke Johnson, if he can get up those PPR points, have those catches and stuff, he'll be pretty solid.
I feel like get that floor with the pass receiving guys.
Yeah, it's definitely great to have especially if some of those guys mix them in. Stewart's not going to catch a ton of passes, but Deion Lewis and Duke will. So
yeah,
definitely nice.
I got 7, 8, 9. I got Stephon Diggs, second-year guy, of course. Delaney Walker, the fave of Law and Sharona, and then Willie Snead, another. I think he was a rookie last year. Yeah. Maybe he was a second year. I don't know. Came out of nowhere.
Well, I mean, he should do pretty well. The Saints just released Marcus Colston, and so yeah. Yeah,
that's one of the sad things. Every time an over-the-top finished receiver gets cut, everyone's like, the Titans should sign him. They should sign Marcus Colston and Roddy White, and maybe Brandon LaFell too. Why not? It'd be cheap.
Oh, good God. They're just pathetic. Titans fans are so pathetic. But here's the thing. I have learned my lesson. Outside of Drew Brees, which I don't know if I would consider him, I have to think about that one. I have learned I stay away from Saints skill players because they just can't be trusted. Sorry, not sorry. They just cannot.
Well, Breeze is a little bit like your guy Brady. I mean, he isn't super target guys. He hasn't had a ton of top draft picks. Of course, Brady now it's Edelman and the Gronk.
Well, he's got Brandon Lee? What's his name? The speedster, the little speedster guy. He was taken in the first round.
I'm blanking.
Oh, Coleman, yeah. I think everybody hated on him, but he actually ended up having a pretty good year.
You know who I'm talking about, Mike, the Saints receiver. Now, he went on IR last.
Coleman, was it the other guy?
It's not Brandon Coleman. I think his name is Lee. Brandon. What's his name?
I'm blanking.
Shit. Cook.
None of us know the name of players.
Oh, yeah. They've had him for his second.
Cooks. Yay.
Yeah, Cook.
It was his second.
Coleman was the tall guy from Rutgers that everybody drafted in the 19th round of MFL 10s, and they should have taken Willie Snead.
Yeah. Well, the weird one to me was that Philly wide receiver that everyone was just so in love with. Nelson Aguilar, was that his name?
Oh gosh, I took him in.
I never, not once, took him. I was like, I don't know what these people are talking about.
People are taking him again this year, so who knows if anything will change.
He's like the new. Who was the Broncos guy that everybody that draft Twitter was so in love with?
Cody Latimer?
Yeah, he didn't do shit either.
No.
Oh, gosh, Latimer. Yeah, he didn't buy Peyton like a donut or something, and Peyton never threw in the ball.
Yeah.
And you'd see some scrubs. You're like, who are these guys on the field over him? I don't even know if he got in the field in the Super Bowl. I mean, seriously.
No, I don't think so.
Okay, we'll try to continue this quickly. I took Bilal Powell in the 10th, and I don't even know if the Jets have him under contract, but he really heated up in the second half last year.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And Ivory's gone, probably.
Ivory's gone. I'd do that. I finally got a quarterback, Carson Palmer, in the 11th.
Nice.
And I couldn't help but double up on Browns running backs Isaiah Crowell in the 12th. I feel like, come on, man, he had a few decent games, and when you can have a chance to load up on Browns skilled players, I mean, you got to do it, right? You can't say no.
Absolutely.
And the 13th round, I took old man Ben Watson. I think you have some fond memories of him.
Oh, yeah.
Isn't he a Saint now, too?
Yeah, he had actually a pretty good year last year.
Yeah, okay. Thought so. I like Ben. I've always liked Ben Watson.
Like all summer, it was that other tight end everybody was talking about, and then the coaching
Josh
staff
Hill.
for the Saints were like, no, Ben Watson's the starter. No, seriously. And everybody's like, I don't care. Josh Hill caught that one touchdown pass I saw. And then Ben Watson had like 3 2-touchdown games or some crazy numbers last year.
That was like the Marcus Wheaton.
Oh, yeah. Marcus Wheaton's glorious 9 for 201 game when I don't think he had 100 any other game last year.
What was the other guy's name? I'm totally blanking on the other guy. The one, stay off the weed. Stay off the weed. Yeah, Martavis Bryant. Stay off the weed. Lewis is the one with the weed, Martavis, not you.
Yeah, the weed's a problem. And of course, I had to get to Ty God in the 14th. Very important pick there, backup quarterback.
Ty God.
He's got Tyrod Taylor saw the Sam Bradford contract extension. He was like, yes. I mean, I know he's signed for this year, but quarterbacks are like
got
coaches.
The pictures, baby. He knows where the bodies are buried. I'm telling you.
I mean, Bradford and Sue. I mean, they got big rookie contracts, the last guys to do it, and then they got big extensions after that. Oh.
Yeah.
And they've won 0 playoff games. So.
Yeah, he's got to be a serviceable quarterback, and you're going to make $10 million a year minimum, even if you're a backup. It's crazy.
The quarterback thirst in the National Football League is pretty amazing.
Well, last summer, didn't the Rams sign Nick Foles to like a 2-year deal, which was worth like $20 million, which I think they're probably going to avoid, but still.
Oh, they've already named Case Keenum the starter.
Case Keenum.
Case is on the case, baby.
That's right. And I had to fall for some hype. I took Jeff Janis, baby, in the 15th round. That's the Thursday trio right there. I mean, I'm already predicting the Packers going to draft a guy in the 3rd round who's going to be automatically ahead of him on the depth
Probably.
chart. He's going to be like the 6th guy again.
Probably.
Packers have so many wide receivers.
People brought up the fact that he had 145 receiving yards in that playoff game. He had 101 yards in 1 drive on 2 Hail Mary catches. Very hard to do again. We'll see. He does have lovely measurables. I mean, give him that. It's nice. I mean, those are maybe Aaron Dobson measurables, right?
Exactly.
You probably did buy that jersey, right?
Oh, yeah. I bought that jersey and, LaFell and what else?
Scott Chandler.
Yep.
Ooh, Scott Chandler. I've always liked Scott Chandler.
Second tight end. I mean, he had a few touchdowns. What the hell? Yeah, so let's see. We'll finish off. So Seattle defense in the 16th. Pretty good for them. Crockett Gilmore, because you love the name. And then Ryan Fitzpatrick in the 18th. I mean, I almost feel like MFL 10s need to have 2 quarterbacks because quarterback is so crazy deep this year. They're like 25 guys. You feel like they're going to get 4,000 yards, 25 touchdowns.
I
No
literally
problem.
I had one today that I finished. I had Romo and Rivers, and then I was my last pick in the 20th round, and Teddy Bridgewater was there.
No, there you
I was like,
go.
you know what? I'm going to take Teddy Bridgewater. I was like, I
I
took
don't
it.
blame you.
Yeah. I mean, Romo
Yeah.
might get hurt, or, whatever. So,
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know if he's the same, but I feel like Tom Brady, his first few years, was like a guy you never drafted in fantasy because he didn't put up big numbers. Then all of a sudden, he started putting up big numbers. And why won't Bridgewater do that? Especially last year, people took him early, and when you get burned by a young guy, you're like, screw him, so he gets knocked way down.
I
yeah.
took him a lot too. I mean, I did. I took him a lot. It hurt. It was painful. But I think
And
he's going to do better this year. I mean, they've got to get more balanced on offense, and you saw them moving toward that toward the end of the year, and so. Yeah. And he showed that he can do it in the playoffs. So, yeah.
they definitely need another receiver at least. And I finished off, I always do 3 defenses in NFL 10, so I took the Falcons and the Colts. So just 3 warm body defenses. It seems like one gets a random touchdown every other week. So that's the thing. I don't know, Mike. What do you think about the whole defense in NFL 10 strategy?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so my philosophy in the defense is if you're at the 20th pick and there's no one you like, take third defense. But like in my case where I had Teddy Bridgewater there, I was like, I'll take Teddy Bridgewater over third defense. But if he wasn't there, I probably would have gone to third defense, with just the crazy, last year, like Pittsburgh Steelers was going in the last round or two, and they ended up as like in the top 5 or something defenses. So you never know. Not even just that random touchdown. They could have, a random 8 weeks of putting up a lot of points. So you never know.
Yeah, as annoying as team defense is, I don't know, does it throw the extra little curveball? Would you prefer there not to be team defense, or are you okay with that?
I'm fine since, unlike kickers, they can't get injured and, you're not going to be screwed. They're going to put up points.
That's true. They're always going to be on the field.
Yeah.
Even the Titans might have a good week or two. You never know.
Yeah, exactly.
I'm
Probably
pretty
this
sure they
morning.
won't. So, Mike, can you talk about these, if MFL 10 seems wussy for you, the kind of leagues you've been putting together with the extra large rosters?
Oh yeah, so doing the jumbos, the 30-man rosters, which is crazy. Yeah, I got it pulled up here. It's in the 23rd round right now. People are drafting, Tim Hightower, Josh Hill, Eddie Royal. It's getting ugly fast.
Yeah.
But I added 2 extra starting spots too. So you can have up to I think it did 2 running backs, 3 wide receivers, tight end, and I added 2 more flexes, so it's 3 flex spots. So it's gonna be interesting. So I'm curious how it shakes out. I mean, it's a lot of Hail Marys towards the end, so it's gonna be interesting.
I have a question for you, Mike. We had Jody Smith on here a few weeks ago, and Jody's obviously been doing this for a long, long time, and he was like showing us notebooks of the early days of their fantasy football stuff. Now, did you join the fantasy football community when when I first started, we were doing it on Excel spreadsheet. Are you entirely a digital kid, or did you start before the big wave of digital stuff hit?
So my very first experience with fantasy anything is I was in, I think, 4th or 5th grade, and my brother, who's 3 years older than me, was doing fantasy basketball.
Oh, okay.
And he was doing that strictly, strictly weekly, and it was with, strictly from newspapers, getting the box score from USA Today every Sunday or Saturday, and manually adding up all the points for the week. So that was kind of my first taste of that. I think I joined it 1 year with him, just kind of playing around. And then, because I graduated high school in 2000, so I was going to high school in the late 90s, and Yahoo, had online leagues at the time.
Right.
So my friends and I were doing online fantasy football in the late 90s. It was very rudimentary, just very basic, your typical league draft and, and what have you. So, I've been doing it in some capacity for probably close to about 20 years now, which is absolutely crazy. But, I really got into...
That's very cool.
Yeah, so I really got into full-blown fantasy football online and everything, probably 2007, 2008, around there.
Okay. All right.
And then once I got on Twitter a couple years ago, just took off exponentially.
But now you are officially affiliated with the site, right? 444.
Yep, officially there.
What kind of signing bonus? Was it in beer?
Yeah, they shipped me a couple cases of beer.
Very cool.
So it's great to be part of that team, though. And awesome guys, like I said, Josh and John and Chris Rayburn and TJ Hernandez and stuff, and it's awesome. And they actually today just announced their first female writer hired.
But yeah, who was it?
I'm blanking on the name. I should have had that ready, but I'm completely blanking on the name.
Oh, it's Jennifer.
Yes, Jennifer. Yes, thank you.
Jennifer Eakins.
Yes. So she's taking over.
I knew that because she had died. I can't believe I blinked. She had shared that with me a few weeks ago. So I'm happy that that's finally official.
Yep. Yeah, she's going to be doing the streaming tight end articles and I think a few other things.
She's great. She's awesome.
Yeah, I followed her for a while, so I'm glad she joined on.
Yeah.
A wily signing by 444. Nice work.
Yes, very nice work.
So I figured we could transition to what's brewing.
Okay.
Now, Mike, you big into touring the breweries?
Yeah, occasionally, definitely like to do some trips. We got a lot of stuff in New England here. So last year, my wife and I, with another couple, went to Burlington for the weekend, and literally just for 2 solid days straight, just went to different breweries all around there. So that was fantastic. And just went to all the stuff, and then went to the Ben and Jerry's ice cream place. That was up there.
Yum.
That was fun. That was our lunch one day. Was ice cream. So that was awesome. And then actually about a month ago, my wife and I took just a random day of the week, took off, and went up to Portland, Maine. Went to Shipyard and Allagash and a few other breweries there. Some pretty cool breweries up in Portland, Maine. And then obviously there's a lot of great stuff in Boston. Harpoon, Sam. There's a local brewery, Jack's Abbey. That's awesome. Clown Shoes. A lot of good breweries around here.
Clown Shoes, bro.
If you want good bottle design, they do pretty good stuff.
Yeah, it's amazing labels. Definitely. Some are just flat out hilarious, and some are just awesome drawings.
Yeah, I really enjoyed. I like to go to beeradvocate.com and look up beers, and you can actually look up by state, and it has the top rated beers in your state, so you can kind of go down the list. There's really good stuff out there. But yeah, a couple weekends ago, dang, it was a long time ago, I did the Triple Brewery Experience. There are 3 breweries, maybe 10 miles from me, and they're only about a mile apart. So there's a tour company that does a tour of all 3, and I was like, let's do it. So me and 2 friends signed up for it. And the cool part was we got to go to the first brewery, which was Wild Heaven, before they opened. So we were like 10 of us that had the run of the place. And what was cool is that instead of just having their normal lineup of beers, they had some of their more limited stuff available. So I had this it was like a 5 different kinds of wild ale, and there's actually a beer, barley wine aged in tequila. Now, I had that before, and the bourbon age, whiskey age, I'm just not a hard liquor guy, so it just comes a little too strong for me, so I kind of pass on those. But, that gives you an option. But yeah, we ended up going to 3 breweries in 4 hours, and by the end, at the second place, because you get like tokens, we were like grabbing tokens from people to have extra beer, because at the second place they charge extra for the beers I like, the heavy stuff. And by the third place, we had tickets, we're just giving them to people because we're like, we're done. We're finished. So I think 3 breweries is an experience that's worth trying, but they're all so different. Like Wild Heaven is like a warehouse some guy owned and just gave him the space. And they have a little bar up front, and they have like picnic tables outside.
Oh, cool.
The second place is actually one of, I think they said there are only a couple places in the country that are like actual Belgian brewers that they hired. And it's called 3 Taverns, and they try to make it look like a Belgian brewery. It's a bunch of wood, bunch of young folk, like me, and a bunch of people playing cornhole, and that's a game where you throw beanbags. And that's a requirement. And then the last place was kind of a Blue Tarp, which was like a little bit of a low-budget place. But Still had good stuff. I had their stout, which was nice. And then by the end of the day, when you're drinking 12% stout, you're like, I need to stop. So
It was funny you mentioned the Belgian breweries in Mass. We have I think it's the only brewery in the U.S., or actually only brewery outside of Belgium, run by Trappist monks.
Ah,
It's really cool.
I need to go to there.
Yes.
me too. What's it called?
Spencer. I think it's Spencer Trappist Ales or Spencer
Okay.
Trappist. Yeah,
Awesome.
it is fantastic. They make just one beer right now. I think they're making another one soon. It is awesome. It's expensive, but it is.
Let me tell you, the priests and the monks, they know how to brew stuff.
Oh yeah, that's all they do.
That's exactly right. That's all they do.
It's like meditation for them.
Well, I don't know what like your beer journey was like, but a big corner I turned was when I had a beer called Korsendonk, which is a Belgian beer that has a cork in it. You know, it's cork and cage, one of the terms they use. And that was just so good. I'm like, yes, a bunch of drunken monks in Belgium. I must go there and hang out with them and just drink beer. I don't care what else they say. But how do you? Because you actually had like a Google Doc, Mike, that you shared, or a doc that had like all your beers, like that you had cellared. Do you have just like a beer dungeon in your house?
Yeah, so Beer Exchange. I've been tracking them on there. I literally just started that last year. So we moved into the house I'm in now a little over 2 years ago. So last year I started buying a bunch of stouts and different things you can age and just put them in boxes on a shelf. And actually right now moved them into the laundry room. It's a room in the basement that has no sunlight or anything like that. So I just have them on the shelves and some in boxes. So I have like 40, 50 beers I've been aging for like a year. And some of them, are definitely good stuff. They're just aged, like, you get the KBS or the Goose Island Bourbon County Stout or whatever. Some of those, pricier ones, like $10 or so for a bottle.
See, I love bourbon stouts. I love the bourbon aged beers.
Yeah, they're great stuff. And some of them, when you age them for a year or two, it even adds another level to it. It's awesome.
So I didn't know you were supposed to age your beers. So beers are kind of like fine wine. The older, the better. And
certainly.
Older women,
Exactly.
The flavors do change. The story I tell is I went to a place called the Brick Store, which is like a well-known, like one of the best-known places in the country, and they had a giant cellar, and they were selling the Allagash Double that was 5 years old, and they poured the current version, which was kind of a brown color, and they poured the 5-year-old version, which was this color. And it was just dark and flavorful and really good. So the next day I bought an Allagash Double, and I've had that for a year. So I don't know if I'm going to wait 5 years. I actually have an Omegang Three Philosophers because they sold like a 3-pack, and it was like a 2011, 2012, 2013 version, and I kept the 2011. So I may save that for a certain time. But my problem, Mike, is that I get bombers, and then I'm like, I want to drink these, so that's what happens. I end up drinking them. Like this weekend, I had there's a Savannah brewery, and they had a beer called Midnight in the Garden, and it was like a brown ale aged in, I think it was a stout aged in wine barrels, and it was like drinking a glass of wine and a beer at the same time, and it was really good. And it was 13%, like what you're drinking now. And of course, I was watching the Oscars and didn't really care what was going on. It was like I went to the Super Bowl to watch the commercials. So I'm like, I'm just going to drink this super heavy beer, and it was quite good. And it was aged about 2 days.
That's great.
I'm trying to figure out what % alcohol this is.
Because I actually had some beer. I went to the Total Wine and picked up some beer. So here's the one I got. It's a local brewer. It's called the Redneck Christmas Stout. I'll probably be donating that to a friend. This is one I actually drank a few weeks ago, and I got another one. It's the Westbrook 5th Anniversary. You've probably heard of Westbrook, Mexican Cake. That's like a really well-known beer. It's a raspberry stout. And it's
Raspberry stout?
punch to the face
Who
raspberry.
drinks the girliest beers? Sour cherries, raspberry,
Dude.
strawberry shortcake. I mean, this is 9.9% alcohol by volume.
Yeah, Sharona don't mess around. Although I think I saw you drink a Bud once, so don't talk to me. And then I got a Boulevard
Free!
Imperial Stout with coconut.
I ain't gonna turn down no free beer. I don't care if it is a Bud.
That's
I
funny.
had the. I don't know if you had the Boulevard, but they had one with similar with cherry, and I had that, and I really liked it. And yeah, you can make fun of my cherry all you want, but it's good. And then I had to
I
get.
would never make fun of your cherries.
Thank you. Don't make fun of my cherry, woman.
So I was going to ask that. So the fruit's good with the stout. I don't think I've ever had the stout with like a raspberry or cherry or anything.
I don't either.
Well, I'm not really a fan of like bitter beer, so something that makes it kind of sweet like that, or even chocolate, is good stuff. And then this was a local beer. This is Sweetwater, so it's a fairly long,
Oh,
and it's a
yeah.
bacon smoked porter.
Ooh.
So we'll see how that goes. I had
You say bacon?
yeah bacon.
Okay. It's
You
funny.
must not be you're not a coffee drinker, right, Zach?
Yeah, I'm not a big coffee fan, and they love.
See, I
this
love
frozen
coffee
beer.
stouts.
my
I
favorite.
adore coffee stouts.
Yeah, I heard you were drinking one as like a Highland, right? There was one bomber that one of the local, because I follow like the local beer stores like on Twitter, and every like day they show here's what our new stuff is, and they have some Highland like coffee beer that I'm sure you'd love.
They're great. I'm sorry, Mike. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Well, no, I was going
Keep
to
you
say,
awake.
I'm definitely a fan of the coffee stuff. Have you tried, I think, Southern Tier 2X Espresso?
I don't think so.
That's a good coffee one.
Is it? All right.
Yeah.
Let's try
that's
that.
good stuff. But one thing I've learned is don't age coffee or like the cocoa or some of those things.
Okay.
Don't age them because you kind of lose all that stuff. So that's one
Okay.
thing I found out.
Good to know.
So drink
Good
those.
to know.
Just drink them.
Well, not.
I mean, I have the 3 Omegang Game of Thrones beers, and I think I'm planning on drinking them for the premiere of the next season.
April, 1 month away.
April
Woo!
24th, I work in cable, I know this. We're hitting this hard, man, hitting it hard.
I
So-
fully expect my mug before then.
Well, it's quite the... Yes, sure, of course. Make promises, why not? So let's transition. We got to do to the over it or nah, because we're getting there. I actually wrote some down, because we haven't even talked about a few important things happening in the world of sports, well, football. Over it or nah? We'll start with Sharona. Men in shorts, over it or nah?
Nah.
This is the combine, of course. I actually haven't been paying as much attention to the men in shorts.
Did you know?
Hand length, hand size.
Did
Don't
you know
measure
that?
small hands.
Did you know that one draft hopeful had to bite the dust because he lost his family jewels out in front of everybody? See, I would know these important things. You probably
Wait,
do not.
what happened?
Sharona broke her DVR in that one.
I broke
Rewind, repeat,
my
back,
remote.
back.
I gotta get a new remote because the rewind button just doesn't work anymore.
After watching Magic Mike, huh?
Yeah. Chris
All
Jones.
right.
Hi.
But nobody beat Chris Johnson, right? The top fast time.
Not yet. There's been some nice. There's some speed guys in this draft. There's been some nice, good times put up though.
Yeah, I think Matt Waldman talked about like the Georgia running backs and how crazy they've been because Keith Marshall was like a backup for them and he ran like a 4.29.
Yeah.
So we'll see what he does. But okay, well let's start with Mike this time. Over it or nah? Draft Twitter.
Probably over because it definitely just gets out of hand and just hypes up everything.
Seems like half of draft Twitter is just people arguing about. I don't even know what they're arguing about. They're like, oh, this guy's 3-cone time wasn't good, or oh, you haven't been watching his film, or I don't know.
This guy should be the first pick now. No, you should be like the third round guy.
And what's even worse is, oh no, I found him first. No, I did. No, I did. I saw him first. I was talking about him 3 months ago.
Well, I think
YouTube first.
I don't remember who on Twitter was basically saying that people were posting like their old tweets or they were retweeting people's bad takes, like, oh, Cam's gonna suck. But I liked it, like Carl Safchik, who's Dynasty League football, he was posting the bad takes he had from the past. I thought that was good because it's like you're gonna say like you're gonna make bad calls. That's just how it goes in fantasy. You don't go 20 for 20 in MFL 10. If you hit on your 16th round pick, you're happy. But you know your 4th round pick may blow up and suck. And that's just the way it goes. So okay, this is for Sharona.
Okay.
Over it or not, people who insist that Bud Light is good stuff.
Over it. It sucks. End of story. Fiend.
I will interject. My wife said she thought she hated beer until she had good beer that I served her like 3-4 years ago.
There you go.
But now she loves beer, and now she recommends going to a beer hall for lunch or dinner.
There you go. She's definitely a keeper.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. I'll say that very loud.
We knew that already because she had the good taste to pick Mike.
Yes, exactly. Now, when we did Portland and Seattle, every lunch in Portland we went to a different brewery. So we went to Deschutes one day. We went to Rogue. I mean, I think they have more breweries in Portland than any other city in the country, and it was just every day. Yeah.
That sounds right. And
she doesn't really like. She can do cider occasionally. And I had the Abita strawberry. She liked that. But other than that, nah. We'll have to get this one back to Sharona. So, over or nah, Peyton talk. I know. We're 54 minutes in, and we just said it, and we don't have to get
This is a hard one. Nah.
Still going, huh?
I'm over. I'm over the 12-year-old trolls who keep coming in my mentions just begging for me to pay them attention, and so all I do is just click block. I mean, I can tell when grade school lets out because it's like, here are my mentions, because, I open my account again. And the funny thing is, I didn't even write about Peyton in my latest, but, I think I mentioned it in one line, and that's it. And then here they came. Ah, she's so annoying. Ah! All right. Anyway, sorry. Carry on.
That's how it goes. And we'll give Mike the last one. So over it or not, Die Hard fandom.
Oh, not over that. Die Hard. Wait, are you talking about the movie?
I mean, nobody's over that. That one has to top.
Over that movie.
Bruce Willis forever.
Yeah, when he had most of his hair still, yeah, it was all good.
I will say I'm more an Armageddon girl than I am a Die Hard girl. That's,
That was a crime against humanity. I'd like feelings that came out watching that movie was so loud.
So cute.
Terrible.
I must say this. I'm going to have a whole lot more to say to my haters on Friday.
I bet you are. So, Mike, how do you say, after all this time, the 5 stages of grief, how are you doing about the Patriots season?
I'm fine. I mean, they got dismantled by the Broncos defense, and that was, an all-time
I was
defense.
shocked. I picked the Patriots to win that game. I'm still... Well, I mean, look what they did to the Panthers. The Broncos defense was for real. It was amazing to watch. And hi, DeMarcus Ware.
Yeah, I mean, and then going back to the Pats game against the Broncos. I mean, the Pats offensive line was just atrocious all year. Combine that with the defensive line against the Broncos, just no chance. No chance. I mean, they could have had Calvin Johnson and Julio Jones out there, and they still had no chance.
I think they said Brady got hit like 20 times in that game.
Yeah.
That's just crazy.
And
then they had 3 drives at the end. They had a chance
They immediately fired their offensive line coach.
Yeah, and conditioning coach.
That's the kind of move the Patriots usually
But really, was it their fault? I mean, they used like 68 different combinations on, it's just kind of crazy. Is what it is. I felt sorry for those guys, and I'm not even a Pats fan.
Yeah, they were on like their fifth and sixth, guard and everything.
They were pulling. They were putting tight ends in, trying to help block. It was amazing.
Oh yeah.
And are you sending daily letters to Roger Goodell asking for that first-round pick back?
Oh, jeez.
Boy, did your owner just rolled over like, okay, we'll give up the pick. Well, of course, who gives a shit about a fine? My team's worth 20 times what it was when I paid for it. But, yeah, like, by the way, the first round only has 31 picks. That's rough. Because, the Patriots usually don't do well in the second round, so maybe they can get rid of the second round and keep the first round. But, yeah.
They're always fleecing the Titans for draft picks. Maybe they'll make it up this year.
Jared Cook, y'all. He's a free agent, by the way.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we'll see what happens with the freaking Deflategate thing's still going on. It's just freaking ridiculous. Just end. So sick of it. So sick of it all.
Tom Brady, he's the
It
best.
did work out pretty well. I mean, for however many years you have Belichick and Brady, you're just like, we have a bye to the AFC Championship game, so let's enjoy it.
Oh yeah, I mean it's thank God for fantasy because I'm gonna sound super smug and like an arrogant or like a just obnoxious Pats fan here, but that's all I care about is do we get the bye or not? Do we get home field advantage or not? Because the division's locked up. Even for 2016, it's already done.
Do you think
That's just reality?
So you don't think Adam Gase is the answer for the Dolphins? And I mean, I kind of like what the Jets are doing. Are you not at all a little bit concerned about the Jets under Todd Bowles?
It's magic.
The Jets and Dolphins always give the Pats, games. They'll steal one here or there and that kind of stuff. But
and what about the Bills with Ty God?
No, I think the Pats have won like the last 13 of the 14 games or something against the Bills. It's crazy. But I mean, they might steal a game against them, but they're not taking the division, so I don't think that's going to be an issue.
I'm excited about that division this year because big fan of Tyrod Taylor, as everybody knows. Woo, hello, hi Tyrod. But I really think what Todd Bowles is doing in New York with the Jets is I know, and I'm glad Ryan Fitzpatrick, I don't have to cheer for him to win a football game. But, I mean, he did pretty well last year. And
went to Harvard.
Did you know he's a Harvard man? I'm very curious to see how that division does this year. The same.
Yeah, definitely be a good battle. That's for sure. I mean, the Bills, I think, Rex Ryan, I think, is just a joke. But like you said, yeah, Ty God and Sammy Watkins is a good team, but their defense is meh. And
Carlos Williams, I think, whatever you think about LaShawn McCoy and his craziness, Carlos Williams is a young guy in the waiting who can be pretty good. They just restructured Charles Clay. He's a nice player. We'll see what they do. I think they finally have a full complement of draft picks. Richie Incognito, I'm so shocked that he's giving them fits right now. Be careful with the devil you sleep with, right?
Yeah, exactly. Like you said, nice pieces, nothing great outside of.
Yeah, we'll see. I mean, it's going to be fun to watch, I think.
Yeah, exactly. I think the Jets will definitely be interesting.
Yeah.
With Marshall, Decker, and just that defense and everything.
Yeah.
Well, we have about reached the hour point, and we got to give some love to Mike, who was nice enough to set up that fantasy playoff league that.
Yeah, that was fun.
Glad somebody won because it wasn't going to be us. So tell us about everything you got going on with 4for4 and your jumbo NFL 10s and where everybody can find you.
Yes, I mean, hit me up. I tweet out the links occasionally for the jumbo, which is, like I said, 30 roster spots, 2 extra flex spots.
Wow.
Yeah, it's crazy, especially now. Later it'll be interesting with all the rookies once they're on team. But and also doing some auctions like I did last year. Regular NFL 10 setup, but auction. So doing one of those. I think the 19th is the first one. So doing those and doing a lot of writing for 4for4. So you can sign up for 4for4
Awesome.
in my pinned tweet, and I have my link in my bio there. And like I said, doing a lot of writing and then developing the tool. We'll be doing some ADP stuff, different
Awesome.
drafting tools, and everything like that. So MFL 10, everything. So all the good stuff.
MFL for life.
Yep, exactly.
And he's got a beer cellar. That's pretty awesome.
That is very awesome.
Yeah, I can tweet that link out if you want to get
I'm trying to like keep one a month, or we'll see how that goes. Sharona, what's happening with you? Sharona, you seem like you've been quite busy with the keyboard lately.
I've been very busy writing. Right. I just wrote an article that Zach was very kind to proofread for me and point out some typos and spelling mistakes, but it is called "There Are No Safe Places for Women." It takes a look at the Erin Andrews thing and a lot of other things. You can check that out. And Friday, we are back. Back Talk is back. Back Talk with Sharona, whereby I give a big shout out to my haters and talk about a lot of other things. I'll talk about Erin Andrews. I'll talk about the latest Peyton Manning news. We'll talk about the Oscars and some other stuff, so tune in. And, of course, Wednesday nights, always, with my buddy Zach. Drinking beer, having fun.
Yeah, we're going to bring on Thomas Gower, who has been a long-time Titans writer for Total Titans. Titans Total? Anyway, he lives in Chicago. I actually met him before a game once. I think he had a Michael Ruse jersey on. And he's given up the Titans writing. So we might have an entire show next week about semi-former Titans fans.
Oh, wow. Well, I'm so glad Tom's joining us. Tom's awesome. I'm glad he's joining us.
It'll be on. I've actually been writing a little bit lately. I wrote about my triple brewery experience. I wrote about my first MFL 10, and then I wrote about my writing itself. And even though I'm quite unpublished as a writer, that does lead to some quality friendships, and that's a pretty good thing. So yeah, that's about what I got. So Zach_Law, and then Sports by Sharona and Mike Mar FF. And thanks everybody for being on. It was a quality show, and good night and kiss Margaret.